So in the previous video, I talked about the real estate wealth formula. And I mean, to most people, it makes sense. It sounds great, but it comes down to, well, where do you start? How do you implement it? And that is literally the $1,000,000 question. Well, that's what we are going to answer in today's video. And it's really centered around the 3-factor alignment. And this is key. Like, this is what I want you to come back to, whether you're starting out a year from now, 10 years from now. This is like the architect, the framework to go out there and help you figure out the sweet spot for what you need to be doing. Now, I have 3 concentric circles on here. One is goals. What are your goals? What's your current situation? The second is strategy. What strategies are you capable of doing? And number 3, what market are you investing in? And so, these 3 circles are not static. They change over time. Take me, for example. When I started real estate investing, I was single, about 10 years younger, and the real estate market was very different than it was 10 years ago than it was today. Well, now I'm married, I have 2 great kids, I'm a lot busier, and I have more money and less time than what I did 10 years ago. So my goals have changed, and also the strategies I can implement and also that work in different interest rate environments, that has changed as well. So it's always coming back to these 3 factors, and we want to keep them aligned. So I want to get your mindset in this framework that there is no right or wrong answer. It all depends on what's the sweet spot for you in your current time in life, what you're capable of, what's going on in the market, also what you can do in your local real estate market. Real estate, after all, is local. So what we're going to start on is the goals. That is your North Star. Now, this took me a long time to realize that goals is the right place to start. Why? Well, we need to know where we are going. Like, hey, this is the end goal. This is where you want to be. This is why you're investing in real estate. Because all real estate is a vehicle to help you achieve a future goal. So we want to have clarity on where we're going. And if you think of like a GPS, you cannot use a GPS until you put in an address. Now, sometimes you can put in the exact destination, but if you're 2,000 miles away, you don't need to put in, 123 Main Street, Denver, Colorado. You can just put in Denver, Colorado, and it gets you started in the right direction. So this is where we're going to start, is your goals, and don't worry about having them finalized. I just want to start down this discussion, and we'll refine it throughout this course. So there's 4 main questions I realized that I need to ask every investor out there. The first is, what do you want? The second is, how much cash flow? When do you want it? And the fourth is, what's your current situation? So what do you want? And so this is like the visual aspect, like what is real estate success going to bring you? And so a lot of people, they paint a word picture, or they have a vision board, and it shows them certain goals, certain lifestyle, retiring their spouse, paying for their kids' college, being able to travel around the country in an RV, whatever it is. What is the benefit that this is going to get you? And get clarity on that, and that usually brings on positive emotion. Hey, I can do this one day, I can achieve this, I can do that. So get clear on what you want real estate to do for you. The second question is, how much cash flow do you want? Now, there's a lot of metrics that you can pick out there, but I find most people end up thinking in terms of cash flow. Now, when I ask this question, most people are stumped by this because very few have ever actually sat down to quantify it. Again, if we want to know, where we want to go, hey, you want this to result to pay for your kids' college, to donate to charity, to retire your spouse, great. That costs something though. Like, we need money in the bank account to go out there and fund that and allow us to have that benefit. So let's figure that out. Now, don't worry about getting all complex on here, and you don't need to build an Excel spreadsheet or anything like that. Keep it simple, stupid. And here's my thought process on here. Just think in today's dollars. So right now, if you were to achieve what you needed to do, how much would that cost, or how much would you need to do that? And then just figure that amount, figure out that expense, and then that's the amount of cash flow that we want your real estate portfolio to bring you. Now you're saying, hey, well, this is 10 years out from now, I want this. That's fine. real estate rents are generally keep pace with inflation or generally outpace it slightly. So it's a very good back of the napkin rule of thumb to say, hey, if I need this much, hey, this might get me there. Now, of course, a lot can change along the way, and we'll come back and reevaluate it, but that's how I do my back of the napkin math. Now, the most common goal I hear, and this is after like 1,000 plus of these discussions, is $10,000 a month. So this is like 90% of the people. $10,000 a month is the magic number. All right, so number 3, when do you want it? As I just did this exercise with you, you need $10,000 a month to XYZ. Great. When do you want to buy? 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years, 20 years from now. And you also want to have some milestones along there as well. So think about that as well. How much cash flow do you want? And if there's milestones, jot those down as well. Hey, year 5 this, year 10 this, year 15 that. Again, just do some quick mental brain dump and go with your gut reaction here. Now, the 4th question is, what is your current situation? And this is just, you have to do like a self-assessment of yourself, because what makes real estate investing so unique is that we have, human capital, we have your time capital, we have money capital. And so you have to figure out what resources we have and what resources can you invest into your real estate, because some investment strategies take a lot of time or take a lot of money. And depending on where you're at, you may or may not be able to do that. So first question is just, how much capital do you have? How much money do you have saved for real estate investing? I don't care about your stocks and bonds and other things, just how much money do you have set aside for your real estate investing? Another question, and this is something that very few people think about up front, and I want you to, is how much time or bandwidth do you have for real estate investing? Like I said, I referenced myself earlier. 10 years ago, I was single, and I had a lot more time then and a lot less capital. Well, now I'm older, wife, kids, so less time and more capital. So some strategies go out there and take a lot of time. If you want to go out there and knock doors or go out there and do creative financing or find this amazing deal, that usually takes a lot of time and or money to go out there and execute it. And for some busy professionals, I'm like, you know what? I have less time but more money. And again, there's no right or wrong. I just want you to be aware of this and actually self-identify so we can start finding that sweet spot. All right, do you have a current portfolio? If you don't, that's fine. We all start at zero. We all start somewhere. If you do, what do you have? And I'll go through in a minute and show you how to put that in a Property Llama. Do you have the ability to move? Some investing strategies have you like live in the rental property or do a live-in flip. Again, that might be great for some people, maybe horrible for others. And then think about like what skill sets, what networks, what knowledge can you leverage? One of the creative things about real estate is a lot of times there's certain aspects that we have or skill set we have that we might be able to parlay and leverage into our real estate investing. So take an assessment of that because that might create some opportunities or give you some ideas to help you go out there and find a better deal or the best strategy for you. And then just, from a high level, what investing strategies interest you? Do you want to fix and flip? Most people, that either excites them or brings dread. Fine, just, hey, that sounds good. Or Airbnb. Hey, do you want to be a host or do you not? Hey, what type of tenant class do you envision yourself? So just kind of start thinking about that, but most importantly, start writing it down. So here's the action for this first part of the module. I want you to write down the answers to those 4 questions. Write them down and don't worry about, lengthy answers. Just a couple sentences or bullet points for all that is great. I just want you to brain dump it, and then we will work through this throughout the rest of this program. And then go enter your goals and basic information into Property Llama. Don't worry, you can change it later. I just want to get the initial stuff in the system as we're going to start using it. And if you have properties, whether rental properties or your primary residence or both, you can start entering your properties into Property Llama as well. Again, don't get stuck on the details. You don't need every piece of information. Just start getting the information in there. And then most importantly, go out there and connect with your team member who got you plugged in this program to make sure you have the Property Llama link, to brainstorm, to share your answers, and just start the discussion. There's really no specific goal on there other than to just share the information and start brainstorming, because this often takes a few discussions, a little bit of action, a little bit of data, a few discussions, and it starts gelling. All right, so let's jump over to Property Llama. So go create your account, do the email verification, and then just follow the prompts on here and enter the high-level numbers onto here. And again, if you're not sure, just take your best guess. Do the best in answering the questions, and just get your initial ideas in there. Now, that menu may change as we're testing different ways and getting a better job of collecting data. But immediately after collecting that data, it's going to start the onboarding process. And just follow the prompts on here. It's going to say, do you own a primary residence? Yes or no. Do you own rental properties? And it'll just simply guide you through here of, do you own a primary residence? Is it a standard primary? Is it a future rental primary where you move in, then move out? Or is it a house hack where you bought a duplex, live on one side, and rent out the other? So the system is designed to help correctly categorize your process or your primary residence. So go through that, enter the information on there, and they'll start the prompt there. Do you have rental properties? And follow that same process. Again, if you don't know every single detail on there, that's fine. Leave it blank or just put in a temporary number. We can always come back and fix it. And a lot of times your team member is going to come back and help with valuations, rents, and wants to come back and get some data current as well. So don't sweat the details. Don't sweat every number. Don't sweat every number. Just get the information in the system, and then we will start refining it and getting updated. And then we can start the analysis of your portfolio and start building out your plan.